Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to introduce Ray Long, who is the President of BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT. He'll be giving us an overview of the BCS objectives for making IT good for society. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Ronnie, and good afternoon, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here. It's my second visit to Jersey, and I've been looking forward to returning. I think this is a lovely island. I'd like to thank the Jersey section of BCS and Digital Jersey for organising this year's Tech Fair. It's a great event, and I hope you've all enjoyed being here this week. BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT, is here to make IT good for society. We are the global awarding institution for IT qualifications and certifications, and we provide lifelong learning in IT and digital capability for all members of society. Our mission is to create a framework of excellence from which everyone can build their capability and competence in IT. We aim to empower all to be ready for and optimize their digital future. And we help organizations and people to thrive in the digital world and harness the driving force of technology. Now, it's clear from what I've seen in the last 2 days here that you really are embracing the digital world and harnessing that force here in Jersey. And I've seen real evidence too that you're making IT good for society, just as we hope to do too. Your digital policy framework provides a great vision for what you can achieve in the years to come, and I enjoyed very much the discussion we had here in this room on e-government yesterday morning. For those of you who weren't there, I raised a number of questions which I hope will be helpful as you introduce more citizen-centric services here. Those questions were, first of all, what precisely do you mean by e-government? There are various interpretations of it or definitions. What's yours? Will you be using it just to do the same things differently, or will you take the opportunity to use it to do different things? Will you encourage or nudge or mandate the use of the new services that you're going to be introducing? Are you taking the opportunity to join up government? And have you consulted the public enough? We then asked, have you got the people to deliver this? Do your non-IT government staff understand the art of the possible with the new technologies? When is an agile approach appropriate and when isn't it? How do you know you're secure, and will your project succeed? We had a good discussion about those things, and I hope they'll be useful as you take e-government forward here in Jersey. For BCS, there are 3 things which we believe underpin our guiding purpose. We call them our 3 pillars, and they are community, excellence, and leadership. By community, we don't just mean the IT community, but all of the communities inside and outside of our organizations and profession, which we can galvanize and purpose to help us create real impact in our sector and in the wider world. And what a powerful community we've seen here at this event over the last 2 days, and what an impact you can have in the years ahead as you make IT good for society here in Jersey. We drive excellence in our sector by offering professionals the means to succeed, whether that's information and guidance or access to knowledge and experience or tools and services. And what great examples you are, and what excellence we've seen again at this event this week as we admire and learn from the leading edge products and services that you're developing and delivering, and which can make IT good for society here. And we aim to show leadership by using what we know to lead our sector, tackling the important issues and offering a relevant, informed and inspiring point of view, fostering learning for the good of all. And how much we've seen and heard about here this week, which is relevant and informed and inspiring, and what leadership you're showing as you make IT good for society here on this island. And I've got a short video which includes some examples of what we've been doing in BCS recently. I hope you'll enjoy this.
Making IT good for society is about looking at how technology and information is affecting society for good or for ill, and how we can make it go the right way. And we do that by getting people together who have something to contribute to that, who share our values, who want to make IT good for society. We've been talking to people for about a year What I want to do is give an update on what's happened in that year and what we're going to be doing next in 2016 and beyond. So getting into the nitty-gritty of what that actually looks like week by week, it means that we are running workshops, doing radio interviews, writing blog posts and articles and speaking to the media about these topics. Recently I've been in the House of Lords talking about how we get a sustained conversation in Parliament going around personal data. We've been talking about things in the Department for Business and Department of Culture, Media and Sport, about the digital economy, about consumer rights, and relating that back to our personal data challenge. We've been talking about how we get a community together who are going to fix health and care. We've got some fantastic partner organisations that we're working with, the medical community and nursing. When we've gone and talked to parliamentarians about this, to other organisations which are interested in policy, that dialogue has changed as well. Members of Parliament are saying, those are things I'm interested in, those are things I'm worried about. And if you can then put a context for all the different things that you're doing together, you really prove to them that something's going on.
There are extraordinary opportunities in terms of data sharing for the British economy.
We are making a lot of decisions in this Parliament about how we should share data.
They're seeing us as a long-term partner to fix those problems. We're here to make IT good for society. What bigger area is there where tech can make a difference for good or ill than in health and social care? The people who've come together under that banner in student chapters of making IT good for society, they're not just smart, but they are very motivated to solve those problems. I was blown away by some of the questions that the students were asking. You know, they'd clearly done their research and they knew an awful lot more than most anyone I've ever come across about those topics as a result. Some of the people who were involved in that workshop then came in for our 4th IT Impact event in Leeds that evening.
Information without borders is what we've called this evening.
These have been really special events that we've developed where we get experts from very disparate parts of the community and outside the community to talk about one issue. The impact of those events is that we're getting people who are going back and doing it differently. When they get together with other organisations, with other people who share those values, then we've got something that can really change things. In another year's time, I'm hoping that the wave that is growing has gone and started to change the world in ways that all of us are not just hearing about in one or two places, but it's an ever-present thing in media, in government, in organisations, in our membership doing things differently. And that is the heart and soul of what we need to do, because at the end of the day, making IT good for society with those people is about a real face-to-face conversation about what matters now and in the future. So we're not going to stop.
To help turn our vision into action, we're setting out 4 challenges, each with the goal of improving how IT serves society. First one there is capability, helping those in information and technology to build a digital world for real people. We want to help develop a fully skilled, adaptable IT workforce whose impact is positive for society and for the economy. The world we live in is increasingly defined by the results of decisions that are made by people working in information and technology. We want IT that delivers what it promises, not only that makes business more efficient and effective, but which enables much of what we care about: health and care, education, commerce, employment and entertainment, and so on. The impact of bad decisions can be fear, anxiety, material loss, and loss of trust across society. But reliable and easy to use information and technology can help us to feel free, in control and happier. Technology is created and applied by people to other people. In short, to make IT good for society, we need good people in the right role as part of a good team to do good things for society. The second challenge is education, ensuring that everyone can be exposed to and choose to study computing and computational thinking. There's no known barrier to success for Jersey in the IT sector. The only problem Jersey could face is the lack of IT professionals to strengthen the IT industry on the island. But the issue of too few young people choosing IT as a career isn't limited to Jersey. The need to ensure that the global IT profession develops people with the right skills to meet the ever-growing need for professionals is of great concern to BCS. That's why we campaigned for computer science to be included on the school curriculum. Over the last few years in the UK, we worked with the Department for Education to develop a rounded curriculum that delivers digital literacy, information technology and computer science. The new computing curriculum was introduced to schools in September 2014, and over the last 2 years, 24,000 or so schools in England have added computing as a part of the statutory curriculum. We want every child to have an outstanding computing education delivered by confident and enthusiastic teachers across the world. And here's another short video just to emphasise the importance of this.
We have been so enthused and so uplifted by the ECDL course that we then said, forget this is not an option, we are going to make it a core subject. We value it that much as a set of skills.
I studied ECDL for about a year overall, and I've done all my grading and finished it, and I got a distinction star overall, so it's good.
I think ECDL helps us in doing projects and presentations for other subjects. It also helps us in our coursework and for college and university, so basically throughout our life.
I'm a final year student where I need to do my project, my presentations and all that. ECDL has been a very great help.
You're engaged in a really fundamental question. What do we want our talent of tomorrow to look like? And how are we going to arm that talent with the skills that we need to perform well in our industry sector?
The BCS is just essential to tech apprenticeships, so it's just great to be here.
It's because of an apprenticeship I've been able to create this company. The work that each and every single one of you have done and made that investment in your career and all your hard work, all those late nights and coffee, is what's led to me being able to start this company and what I believe is making an impact in the future.
A lot of people are now very worried about getting our online skills up to date. So we do a lot of work with people, helping them to learn how to navigate around the internet, how to fill in forms using the internet, which is a big challenge for people who've never done it before.
I think that getting a better grasp of IT and being more IT literate has really helped a lot of our young people to turn their lives around. We've got young people who then have actually discovered that they have a real interest in IT, a real love of it, and that's given them a direction for where they want to go career-wise, which is really exciting.
I love networking, I love building servers and switches and routers, and I'm hoping that one day I'll work for Google or Apple.
Events like today, all here together, families, mums, dads, kids, it's amazing because it gets the message over to everybody that computing is a great career and that coding is fun and that you can produce your own app in an hour. So cool.
Sophia Plus will help us attract the best talent possible. One, through giving us an understanding of what it is that we need, and two, by encouraging and enticing people to come and work for our organisation by providing a very transparent and open career framework.
The BCS was the first UK network, online network for women in computing.
I think it's a huge benefit to get people of the same like-minded nature into the same room from different companies to share their ideas and their knowledge. It not only benefits an individual level, but it also benefits the organisation.
I would say for any BCS member, coming to events like this ends up paying for your membership time and time again. So please come to events like this, come to your branch events, and it will really help enhance your career as an IT professional.
What advice would I give to somebody who's thinking of joining BCS? I would say absolutely do it. It gives you an opportunity to have access to a massive amount of resource to fellow IT colleagues outside in other industries, other organisations, but also gives you a common point of conversation with your own internal IT colleagues as well. So I'd say, yeah, absolutely go for it.
Our third challenge is health and care, inspiring the information community to create a health and care environment built around individuals' needs. Across the world, health and care is fragmented and not making the most of digital technology because multidisciplinary and multi-organisation collaboration is too difficult. We want the professionals making decisions about health and care to work together across boundaries so that they can truly serve the citizen. Our health and care services are facing unprecedented demands, pressurised budgets and complex organisational change. Only by exploiting technology and securely sharing information can they meet these challenges while delivering person-centred care. BCS has a role to play in making this happen for the benefit of society. And our final challenge concerns personal data. BCS wants to see a change in our approach to data so that individuals have trust and control and organisations have the freedom to integrate and use data safely. We're committed to making personal data work for everyone, organisations, individuals and society alike. We want to put people in control and at the same time empower organisations to use data in more beneficial ways with genuine trust on both sides. Our goal is to achieve the full potential of data by seeking the best possible public benefit. We want to get the best outcomes for most people with the least risk and harm. We believe this is not only desirable and not only achievable, but essential to the future of our society. Trust is critical because it's what enables users to feel comfortable disclosing data to organisations that can then go on to do great things. And to help foster trust, signals such as credentials, qualifications and reputation are essential. In the past year, we've been delivering exciting events to debate these critical issues for society and IT. We're getting our members involved in working out how they can make IT good for society in these areas and others too. And if you haven't yet joined us and would like to be part of this community, please do get involved with the excellent BCS section here in Jersey and come and join our cause. Here's one last video showing an example of the sort of events that we've been holding recently.
This is actually the new frontier of human rights debate in our country and in the world.
Welcome to Leeds, to Lambert's Yard, where we're here for the fourth in the series of IT impact events from the BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT. And the theme of tonight's discussion is information without borders.
Tonight we're putting together the importance of rights and treating people in a civilised way around data and some real ideas about what's broken and how we can fix it.
Hello Periscopers, we're live streaming this at BCS Live.
Data breaches are no longer trade press news. This is front page, 9 o'clock news.
IT professionals should be taking ethics more seriously. What we're actually obsessed with isn't the device. What we're obsessed with is what the device gives us access to.
The power and the perils of information when it's mismanaged is so important.
Do we have somebody who'd like to see where their phone's data is going, who'd like to get inside the secret life of their phone?
Yeah.
Brilliant, we're past the first hurdle. Okay.
First up, we have Channel 4 technology journalist Jeff White, who will be performing a live data hack.
How many packets of information do we think Adam got through in the period of time? And for Adam, we've got 30,306. Round of applause for Adam, very well done.
One of the things as a journalist you don't get to do often enough is speak to people who are at the coalface. You get to know what's really happening on the ground, and that's invaluable.
Former Director of Liberty, Shami Chakrabarti, CBE, is here talking about what information without borders means for society.
This debate has to be a multidisciplinary debate. The law and the politics and the ethics and the philosophy needs to catch up the cool technology. If code is the new Latin, you have to choose what kind of cleric you're going to be. And I hope that you're going to be the professionals that empower the people.
Finally, Alan Mitchell, author and strategy director, is talking about the transfer of power from organisations, from businesses to individuals.
Monopolisation with Facebook and Google and so on. Are we seeing concentrations of economic power?
These complicated things, people come at it from so many different angles.
We've got a powerful bunch of people in the room tonight.
If anybody's in a position to make a change, it's these people.
A good blend of contrary views from the speakers. It's really driven the debate and it's translated into messages that we can take into the workplace.
I think the students brought a fresh perspective and a different outlook on some of the issues that we were talking about tonight.
It's just about getting more people into the discussion. Why let the few speak for the many?
When people are downloading apps and accepting terms and conditions, they don't know what they're accepting. When we come to these events like this, it makes the whole picture a lot easier to understand.
People were really engaged, and it felt like there was a bit of a community. I thought it was just fantastic.
So we hope you'll get the opportunity to go to one of those events here locally in the near future. Now I'd like to say a few words about the theme that I chose for my year as BCS President, driving up the success rate of IT projects, because here's the challenge that we face as an IT profession. For decades we've been bombarded with books and reports and metrics on IT project failure. Here are some of them. 75% of IT projects fail. They have severe cost or schedule overruns. They're cancelled or they just don't work. 70% of organisations have experienced at least one project failure in the last year. 31% of projects cancelled before they complete. 142 billion euros by one estimate wasted on IT project failure. An NAO report on the common causes of project failure and their remedies, and an IEEE report on lessons from a decade of IT failures. And we're still not in a good place, even after decades of working the problem. The strange thing is that, as the titles of those two reports suggest, we know so much about why projects go wrong. Why is it that we don't seem to be able to learn the lessons? So here's the cause: driving up the success of IT projects with a positive focus on what we know to be the critical factors in delivering successful outcomes. Here's the aim: making IT project failure a choice, not, as it's too often seen at the moment, as an accepted inevitability when it happens. Does that sound impossible? Well, maybe it is. It's certainly big and bold, but we'll never know if we can do it until we do it. So let's give it a try. And how can we go about it? Well, by adopting proven principles, fresh mindsets, and actions which we know to work. We need to understand, first of all, what constitutes failure and success. And that may not be as obvious as it might sound. Most of us, I dare say, would probably say that the London Eye was a hugely successful project. It's become an iconic landmark in London. There are queues of people waiting to ride it every day, and it's become, to most people, a much-loved feature of the skyline. But do you remember now the issues it faced at the time? It was beset by engineering problems early on, and the first attempts to haul it upright in the autumn of 1999 had to be postponed. It was due to open on Millennium Night, but although it was officially opened by the Prime Minister on December the 31st, 1999, no one was able to go on it until March the 9th, 2000, because of a capsule clutch problem. So this was a project that had an immovable end date, and it missed it by months. But was that project a failure, would you say, or was it actually a great success? We need a common understanding of what success means, and it may no longer be to time and to budget and to specification in some cases. It may be a little bit more complex than that. So here are 7 proposed actions to kick us off, and I'd be interested to know what you think. This is my theme for my year as President of BCS. We'd like to bring together the best experts, leaders and practitioners to support and help us. Let's focus on what we already know to be the critical factors in delivering successful projects: the right people, leadership, behaviours and choices. Let's expand the BCS's Skills for the Information Age framework, for example, to include the so-called softer skills like personal effectiveness, emotional intelligence, communication skills, collaboration skills and leadership skills, alongside the more engineering-type planning and control approaches we already teach. As with the London Eye, let's measure project success in meaningful terms. Let's ensure that IT is an integral part of and driving the business, and let's deliver and publicise case studies, examples and stories of success. The BCS's project management group, it's called PROMS-G, is already doing great work in this area, and we're talking to some great companies with skills and ideas in this space. So that's the area I'd most like to start to influence during my term of office. Let's move to a position where there's no need for any IT project to fail unless it chooses to ignore the factors which lead to success. And finally, on a personal note, what I've always loved about my career in IT is the way that the technology has changed over the years. Here's a quote I came across recently, which I loved. It's from another YouTube video you might have seen. It's called Did You Know? The version I saw was by Carl Fish, Scott McLeod, Katie Scott, and an organisation called Explain. And it says this: "We are currently preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist, using technologies that haven't been invented, in order to solve problems we don't even know problems yet. It went on, the amount of new technical information is doubling every 2 years. For students starting a 4-year technical degree, this means that half of what they learn will be outdated by their 3rd year of study. So many times in my career, I've seen something for the first time and thought, wow, when I saw it. I remember the first time I ever saw a spreadsheet and somebody started to type in numbers and I watched the columns fill up and then the rows, and I thought, wow, you could immediately start to see that things which wouldn't have been possible before now were. I remember the first time I saw the World Wide Web. It was in America about 25 years ago and thought, wow, although of course none of us could have foreseen then just how much that was going to change our lives, of course. And I thought, wow, again, not long ago when Liz Bacon, our previous BCS president but one, told me about smart dust. Have you heard about smart dust? If not, then please do search on the internet, just search the term and find out. It's amazing. It's made up of tiny micro-electromechanical systems, each one as small as a particle of dust, and they all have sensors in them. Now apparently, I'm not recommending this, so don't do this at home, but apparently you can sprinkle it over someone's jacket or put it in their drink without them knowing, and then keep track of where they are because of all these sensors. For someone who was brought up on James Bond and loves John le Carre, you can imagine how excited I got about that. So those were 3 of them, and even now, well into the second half of my career, I'm hoping for a few more wows in the years to come. Perhaps some of you will invent some of them here in Jersey, and I look forward to watching what you achieve and saying wow with you whenever you do. Once again, it's been a great privilege and a pleasure for me to attend this event with you this week. IT has changed our world for the better, and I'm sure that you're as thrilled as I've been to be involved in such a force for good. For those of you who are IT professionals, your skills will be in demand wherever you go. For those of you who aren't, you're just as important in terms of identifying opportunities for us to use all of the exciting new technologies which continue to be invented. I urge you to use them well and look forward to working with you as together we continue to make IT good for society. Thank you very much.
Because it's originally a London-based society, and we've got a bulk in and around the sort of southern part of the UK, it's perhaps somewhat distant from here in the Channel Islands. Because you have a professional body, and you also have a company, and that company is quite well known in the UK, and here it's less well known. It doesn't make a representation in the island. They don't talk to people about the business analysis things. It's left to people to decide if they wish to do that. So if you like, our learning companies may choose to use BCS as their business analysis partner, or they may not, but there isn't actually any local representation. Do you think that that's something that should be addressed or should be investigated?
I think it should be addressed, and it's something that you could help us with, I think, in the local section. We do have a lot of events in London because obviously a lot of people live in London, but equally we do have events throughout the UK and in overseas sections as well. I was recently in Sri Lanka and Mauritius, where we have very active sections, and where the BCS brand name has a very high profile amongst the IT profession and amongst the community and the politicians too. It's well known because of the efforts that have been made there. So I think it could be an issue, but I think with your help it's something that we ought to be able to deal with, and there are models elsewhere where we do have a high profile, even though these places are a long way from London. So it can be done, and very interested in talking to you about Ronnie, about how we can help you to do that more. Please.
I was intrigued by your comment, which I completely agree with, that almost by the time you finished your IT course, what you've learned is obsolete. Could this be because the starting point, particularly at degree and college level, is perhaps not as first principles as it used to be? So when I was at university studying computer science in the late 80s, it was scary maths, scary first principles, etc., etc. Here we are now using 10 gig Ethernet, for instance, as a matter of course, just plugging it in. But actually, that's not hard to understand because 25 years ago, we were taught the first principles of how those technologies fit together. And also, I mean, particularly with cryptography, and as Group Security Officer for JT now, I and actually standing a chance of comprehending the cryptography technologies and why Fermat's last theorem matters to us all of a sudden. So do you perceive, you see a lot more of UK education than I do these days, do you perceive that there is a lack in the first principle stuff that lets people extrapolate the new stuff from what they know? Because there's not all that's radically new. There is some, but a lot of what happens is development of principle.
That's right, and you'll know better than I in your field. I was intrigued to see recently that some of Alan Turing's papers had just been declassified for the first time, and apparently, I don't know how many, but there's a host of them which still can't be declassified because what he was working on, back in the 40s and 50s was so ahead of its time, or as you say, the principles are still so valid that it's still really contemporary information, valuable information. I think it's probably partly that, and that may well be addressed by what we're trying to do in the UK in terms of teaching children computing and computational thinking skills now, such that if they want to go on to a professional career in IT, they've got that grounding before they start their courses. We do equally think it's important for people who aren't going to go on into IT. You know, it teaches some of the ways of thinking, decomposing problems and things in a way which will be helpful to people in lots of professions, we hope, as well. So hopefully children coming to, or young people coming to universities and college courses with that grounding will not have the problem that you described, which I understand. We went through a phase of teaching people IT, teaching them how to use software that other people had put together, rather than actually putting together their own software, and we're hoping to change that now. Equally, you know, I said what I'd loved about my career in IT, that every now and again something comes along and you just think that's amazing. It completely changes things. I always jokingly say I couldn't have been an accountant. That's not to say that accountants aren't important, but 2 + 2 always equals 4, doesn't it? It doesn't change during the course of a career. So it's what I've loved, the variety and the change. And hopefully that will keep going, because that's what makes it exciting. Ronnie.
So I think recently our government in Jersey has made significant investment in diversifying the economy, and one focus has been digital. Hence why this event's actually able to happen is through their support and their partners, if you like, in this. But what do you think that the UK government is doing? You know, does the Chartered Institute, when they looked at the education, they wanted to get more computer science out there, do you think that they're meeting the expectations of the institute? Or should they be doing more?
I think we're pleased that the emphasis that the UK government has put on the new digital technologies. So we have a government digital service. A friend of mine, Kevin Cunnington, who I've worked with in my department, has recently been appointed to take that on, and he will be having lots of good ideas in terms of how we can take forward what we're still calling e-government, or other people, as we said yesterday, have different names for it. So I think we're pleased with the emphasis that the government is putting on technology. Certainly in my part of government, you know, we are funded to do what we need to do for the greater good, because of the good that will bring about the government and the department, as well as the population. So it's got a high profile. In terms of starting organisations up, you know, at a time of economic austerity, there's always an issue about making funding available. I think at the moment it's relatively easy, or it's not as difficult as elsewhere to get seed cord funding. Getting the funding to then take an idea through to development and release can be more of a challenge, but that's understandable given the economic circumstances that we're surrounded by at the moment, of course.
So would I be right in thinking that your project management group are clearly driving this piece, but it will be with overlap into groups such as the business analysis focused ones, for instance? Because a lot of the time the reason that something fails is because the people doing it didn't really understand in the first place what it meant to look like.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a very topical question. We've got a next edition of our magazine, IT Now, coming out in a month or two's time. and the BCS very kindly let me guest edit it. So I was able to get 3 or 4 people to write articles on different aspects of project management. One of them actually is written by Lucy Ireland from the BCS, and it's exactly about what you say, the role of the business analyst in projects, and the way that a good business analyst or 2 or 3 in a project can make such a difference by doing exactly what you described. So yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
Hi Ray. We've had a lot of discussion today and yesterday on how we upskill children in the education system. We've had discussions about how government becomes a better user of technology. Obviously in Jersey we have a number of technology companies that have generally grown up around servicing financial services. I don't know whether you've got any views on how we upskill those companies themselves. You know, how we make sure they are better prepared to serve the sort of businesses that we want to grow in Jersey and not just financial services.
It's an interesting question. Do you mean upskill them in terms of going beyond what they think they're there to do at the moment? Or?
Well, I think yes.
Yeah.
Part of that, yeah.
And I guess organisations like BCS have a part to play by holding the sorts of events that you saw on the videos there, and just expanding people's thinking about what IT means and what they need to be thinking about. So the personal data one, I think, is a good example. You know, a lot of organisations are woefully unprepared for a cybersecurity attack. You know, not quite sure what they would do if one arose, or what they might do to try and prevent them. The more we can do to educate people in those sorts of areas and get them thinking about angles of aspects of technology that they haven't thought about, the more the better, I would have thought. And that may not just be educating themselves for their own good. It may be educating themselves to spot new markets and new opportunities, or perhaps ways in which the products that they might think have been developed for one particular market actually may have an application and an interest elsewhere. So yeah, absolutely, I agree.
And another question, I mean, looking at some of your videos, which were great, about how you engage your members and engage the IT community. You know, one of the issues I think we have here, and I think BCS Jersey had it, where probably a very small proportion of your members you get out on a regular basis. We have it as Digital Jersey, although we have around 2,500 people in the digital sector. Getting a large proportion of them together is quite hard. What have you found that really works in terms of bringing people together from the tech community?
I think picking the right subject. So picking, we came up with 4 challenges. That's not to say that there aren't more, and those 4 challenges will evolve. There might be 5 or 6 in the future. It may be that we'll seek to emphasise one, a new one, or another one will become relatively less important compared with others for whatever reason. So it's picking the right subject, picking the right speakers. So you saw on the videos we had some very engaging speakers there, 1 or 2 well-known names who people were keen to come along and see. And picking a nice environment. You know, I wasn't at the event in Leeds, but it looked like a very enjoyable event that people would appreciate coming to. And for any section, whether it's Jersey or anywhere else, you know, BCS provides guidance on how to run these sorts of events. So if you wanted to run one here in Jersey, if you haven't done before, you know, we can advise on how best to set that up, and even perhaps send someone across to help you with that.
Something that just this moment occurred to me, just with regard to the sort of the recruitment stroke graduate involvement thing, because I've done various things in the graduate recruitment thing over the years. I guess this is probably as much for you, Ronnie, as for Ray, but is there anything we can do to inject ourselves into the likes of Highlands College in particular? Because you know, more and more establishments over here are becoming higher education establishments, not just the traditional colleges. And I first became interested and sort of wanted to join the BCS back in the 80s when they were really promoting themselves within my University of Norwich. So is that something we can do in terms of just promoting membership together them in the university by working with them, you know, even helping them with courses and whatnot?
I think it's open. I think the answer is yes. I think there's collaboration. I think it's the big piece, but in particular, I think that Ray's particular theme for the list of piece is really important to all of us. Is that project success piece? Because where do you teach it? You know, I've got loads of projects that I've been exposed to that have, I don't like the word failure, but they haven't succeeded to the level that they should have. And some of those would be the smaller ones, would be my personal fault for not really understanding client expectations and getting that. So actually, I school. And admittedly, the classroom teacher, right from secondary school, always ensures success of projects. And when they're not there, and you become an independent IT professional, yeah, you need somebody else to sort of help guide in those areas. So I think the answer is yes. I think that collaboration with the colleges is already there, but there's more to do. It was a good talk at the education panel today about collaborative stuff between the industry and the education department.
Yeah, it's interesting because things like project management, you study physics, you study maths, you study English, you study IT, but it's this thing that sort of relates to everything, but no one really teaches it, unless you go and study that specific subject or go out and maybe Prince 2 program.
And I think that's part of the issue. We're very good at teaching the methodologies of project management, but when a project goes wrong, it's not often because someone didn't use Prince 2 absolutely as it was meant to be used. It's because somebody acted in an emotionally unintelligent way, or didn't communicate properly, or there was a lack of leadership. It is often those human softer skills. So we need to move away from people perhaps going on a week or two's Prince or MSP course, coming back with the certificate and thinking that's all they need to be a good project manager. Please.
There's a lot of focus of sort of education on students. How do you think movements like eGov can reach older people that are out of school that also need IT skills to engage with programming?
It's a good question. And interestingly, it came up within the BCS recently when there was a conversation around focusing on young people. And one or two of us of a certain age said, well, are we missing out something here? What about the people at the other end of the scale who are older and who need some help? So it's something we're very aware of. And in BCS, we've started to do a piece of work internally to see how we can reach that community and what we can do to help, because often they can be neglected. It's a really good point.
And you do often find that our generation do have different things to offer, even they're not up with the current funky technologies. They have the experience, they have the people skills, they have all of the sort of things that Ray's talking about. And it's such a fantastic fit into any project.
And it's not simply perhaps the older generation who don't make use of IT at all. As I say, it's those of us perhaps of a certain age who've got comfortable using the IT that we're comfortable with, but don't always understand what our children are talking to us about when it comes to the very latest technologies, because not all of us are necessarily first movers, even though we enjoy technology and work with it. Okay, any last question? Or if not, thanks very much for coming along, and thanks for the conversation. Enjoyed it.